Hello everyone, Richard here at Kelvin Wazoo with another video, and also where sometimes I put cat faces on the pie. I am joining a thread that I think was started by Vinyl Richie, and I've watched a few of these videos, and it's going to be like going through a big long list here, but it's the 25 favorite albums from the first 25 years of the 21st century. So, yeah. And this was actually a bit difficult for me because what I did is I just went through all my records, using Discogs to identify the records that were released from in the year 2000 and later, and putting down all the ones that I had rated with 5 stars, or I just knew, that's a favorite record of mine. And I had nearly 40 in the list, so I had to whittle it down, and it was tough. It took a couple of days because I'd be looking at these going, because some years I didn't have a record for that year, but I would have like 3 records for one year, and I wanted to limit how many for a particular year. And I also limited myself to just one example from a band, even though a particular band that I collect had a lot of really great records in the 21st century. Now, I do have 2 legacy acts in here, releases that came in the 21st century, but they're by artists who had been recording since the 60s. And but they really are remarkable recordings, and there's just 2 of them. So these releases are pretty much by bands that were doing the bulk of their work in the 2000s. And first one I'm going to start off with is a fairly new acquisition, and it's a really good record by Calexico. And this one is called Hot Rail, and it was released in the year 2000. The Calexico did begin in the 90s, but continued making a lot of records into the 2000s. And they have turned into one of my favorite bands of all. They are just really, really incredible with the mixing together of just all genres, blending with traditional Mexican folk music, but there's even some Asian influences as well as country and folk, and it's just, they're amazing band, and this is really an amazing record. I could have picked numerous Calexico albums, but we're going to go with this one, and like I say, it is really, really excellent. Now, this next one is a legacy. It's Bob Dylan. Been recording since the early 60s, right? But in 2001, also released on September 11th, 2001, was this one, Love and Theft. Really, really incredible album. Just so many good songs on here. It was kind of Time Out of Mind was probably even a stronger return to form for him. But this record, we're talking about, it'd been a while since Dylan had released a really strong record. And there's some great songs on here, Tweedledee and Tweedledum. Mississippi, which he ended up gifting to Sheryl Crow. Just so many. High Water, Po' Boy, Cry a While, Sugar. These are all such great songs. So for the year 2001, we have Bob Dylan, Love and Theft. Then comes 2002. So I got one for each year starting off, and that is this record, Ugly Casanova. And Ugly Casanova First of all, this is a brilliant album. It is perhaps the best release of the first 5, even perhaps the first 10 years of the 21st century. This is really incredible. It involves, it's a project that involves Isaac Brock of Modest Mouse, Brian Deck and Tim Rutilli from Red Meat and Caliphone, Paul Jenkins from Black Heat Procession, and John Orth from Hullapaw. And it's based on a legend that they created, that the songs were written by a Modest Mouse fan, but that turned out to all be fabrication. But the songs on here are just, they're different, they're interesting, they sustain your interest, and they're good songs, just really, really solid. An amazing, amazing record from 2002, Ugly Casanova, and the title of the album is Sharpen Your Teeth. All right, then we come up to 2003, so again, we're still having a record for each year, and that's the debut with Scissor Sisters. What a band. And you know, they're getting back together again. They've taken a hiatus for quite a few years. But yeah, Jake Shears and Baby Daddy and the crew. This was their debut album. And talk about some just classic songs of theirs. Laura, Take Your Mama. They did a cover of Comfortably Numb with Jake Shears doing falsetto. Mary, Lovers in the Backseat, Tits on the Radio, Filthy Gorgeous, Music is the Victim, Better Luck, It Can't Come Quickly Enough, and then Return to Oz. It Can't Come Quickly Enough is one of my favorite songs. I just love that line in there that, you know, of you waiting for something to happen and then it came and passed you by before you even realized it. Scissor Sister, excellent, from 2003. Then we come to 2004. At least this was released in 2004 in the US. And this was my first record also from the band Tinariwen. I had become infatuated with Mdou Moctar and Saharan blues and the music of the Tuareg from Northwest Africa. And I wanted to explore more. And a band that sort of capitalized on Mdou Moctar's popularity was Tinariwen. And the musicians are mostly, I think, from Algeria, but they're also part of the nomadic Tuareg culture. Just amazing and beautiful electric blues. I mean, this is really where the blues, the origin of the blues, you can hear it in this music. And while Tinariwen is not necessarily as flashy and flamboyant in terms of guitar playing as Mdou Moctar, they are nonetheless brilliant guitar players and brilliant songs about life in the desert and the struggles that the people face. Wonderful, wonderful music. Of course, it's sung in the Tuareg language, but there are liner notes that provide translations so you know what the songs are about. Okay, next we come to 2005. Look at that. Got one just going in order. And that's this one here with Arctic Monkeys. Whatever people say I am, that's what I'm not. What a great record. This is just so powerful. It's got that post-punk and punk punch to it. Really, really good record all the way through. It's just a solid one all the way through. And I have not... I don't think I've listened to any other Arctic Monkeys. I'm just so impressed with that one that, you know, sometimes how you listen to one record by a band and you're like, oh, this is it. I am totally satisfied with this. plus maybe you're a little bit leery of checking anything else out because it might disappoint. Yeah, that's kind of how I feel with Arctic Monkeys. But anyway, next one. I gotta skip a year. Don't have one from 2006, but I've got this one from 2007. And this is the Horrors debut, which is, let's see, I can't remember the name, Strange House. Okay, from 2007. This is a British band, so we're not talking about the band called the Horrors that's from Iowa. Their debut was very kind of power pop and punk in a way, but their subsequent albums, which are all really good, are just different. Each one is different. The band expands and delves into other, styles of playing and songwriting. It's just really, really versatile band. This was my introduction to them, and this is a great record. Although Skying and a couple others are really, really great recordings as well. I think they also had a brand new one. Okay, the next one is from 2008. At least it was released in on CD in 2008. Didn't get a vinyl release until 2016. And that is this band, the Moon Doggies. Great psychedelic, kind of a little on the alt country side, a little bit maybe a little feel maybe like the Wallflowers, a bit, but it's definitely psychedelic, a little more I don't know. I don't want to make any other comparisons because I don't want to mislead you. Okay. As I recall, I think they're from Arizona. Can't remember now, but this one, the title of this record is, let's see, Don't Be a Stranger. And as I said, originally released on CD in 2008, but the vinyl release didn't come until 2016. All right, now we're going to go to a Japanese band. This is another one of my favorites. I have all but their newest release on vinyl that were available on vinyl. They've got one or two other releases that were either available only on cassette or CD. And that is the Japanese band Toe. And this record is For Long Tomorrow, released in 2009, but the vinyl was not released in 2013. This is a post-rock, some people will call it math rock. Japanese trio, amazing drumming. The whole musical sound is very much anchored by the drummer. And if you can think of drumming having a musical melody, that's kind of, I think, part of the way of thinking about math rock, is that the song is not being driven by a musical melody that's presented by, let's say, the keyboards or a guitar player or even a vocalist in combination with those instruments. It is being presented by the drummer. And then the other instruments are there for accompaniment. That's kind of how I would explain math rock. But this is definitely also post-rock, and like I say, an amazing trio. They put out quite a few records, mostly EPs, but really great stuff. And then another one that's also similar to all right, my computer went to sleep and I needed to reawaken it, is another Japanese trio, is this one, Mouse on the Keys. Now this is, okay, Toe is got your, the drummer, driving the essence of the music, the song. And then you've got guitar players, that are accompanying, so providing the other musical sounds. Mouse on the key is similar in that, again, the drummer is the driving force for the songs, but instead of guitars, they're keyboards. There's 2 keyboard players. And then they bring in other players, you know, when needed. So again, it's in that realm of math rock, but this is a little jazzier sounding, probably because, you know, it's the keyboards that are providing the accompaniment and the accent to, again, the phenomenal drumming. Difficult records to find. Toe is a lot easier to find now. They are getting reissues released in the United States and North America. Toe, you know, to get their records, they're pretty pricey because most of them are Japanese issues only. All right, so that was Mouse on the Keys. An Anxious Object is the name of the album, and it was from 2009. All right, going into 2010. I remember just happening to encounter a video on YouTube of this musical artist known as Villagers. Conor O'Brien, Irish folk pop singer-songwriter and multi-instrumentalist. He plays everything. And then when he performs live, you know, then he has a band that's accompanying him. And that's kind of how Villagers came to be the band, is Villagers. Amazing songs, rich storytelling. It also, I don't know, I just feel connected to him in the way he describes some things that I recognize in a way as being in the realm of, let's say, depression. And I really connect with those songs. But then some of the songs are just so simple. Like there's this one where it's about some guy waiting in line with a lot of other people for the bus to come. And, you know, the ride on the bus when it finally arrives and, you know, lets them off past dark. And he's singing and like a message to who he's going home to that, you know, this is why I'm late. Something as simple as a bus being, you know, late. It's just really quite interesting songs. Again, this is an artist that I have a lot of the Villagers releases. That was their debut and definitely one of my favorites. Okay, now we got to go to, okay, that was 2010. Next one is from 2011. And it is a solo album by Thirsten Moore. And it is Demolished Thoughts. Really, really excellent. Then he's got, it came with this other thing, another CD, which I haven't listened to in a while. I'm going to have to check it out again. But yeah, I really, really like this solo. This is after his divorce with, you know, well after the divorce with Kim Gordon from Sonic, you know, with Sonic Youth. But I really, really like this record. Definitely my first choice for that particular year, 2011. So Thirsten Moore, Demolished Thoughts. The next one is for 2012. This is another debut album by folk singer Jake Bugg. And this is such a solid debut. It's probably my favorite of all of the 4 or 5 releases, although his newest one is really quite good. There are a couple others kind of in the middle of his releases are little, you know, inconsistent, a little shaky, but that's because I think he allowed too much control with the producer in terms of songwriting direction, or maybe the producer just pushed themselves into that process. And when Jake finally was able to separate himself from that really unnecessary influence, his songwriting came back with strength. But this is a great debut, and very realistic, vivid songs of life. And we're talking, this is going to be Northwest Britain for the most part. But that area of northern Britain, when you're getting close to Scotland. All right, so Jake Bugg from 2012. Next one from 2013. This was my first introduction to King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard. Float along, fill your lungs. Nice yellow vinyl. I've got a couple records by King Gizzard, and then I have a box set, which is just an absolutely amazing box set of their 3 days of shows at the Salt Shed in Chicago, which I didn't see, but what an amazing live recording. And yeah, this has a variety of songs on here, so you get a little bit of everything that they do, but every record by King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard really is a new adventure. So it's like, how do you start? And when I asked the guys in the record store, they said, well, try this one. This is probably a good entry point. And it really is a good one, and one of my favorite records. So that one, Float Along, Fill Your Lungs from 2013. Then we go to 2014. And this was a blind buy. Juan Waters, North American Poetry. Bought this when a few of us from the VC, while I was still living in Chicago, we went on a record crawl. And there was a pop-up store. That's where I found this one. And Juan Waters, he's from Uruguay, but then moved to the U.S. and to New York City. He is a very irreverent folk singer-songwriter with a kind of a punk attitude. And they're really, really good. I love this album. Really, really amazing. And it's one of those albums where, it was a blind buy. But if you know me, if I see an album that's got a cute boy on the front, I'm going to go, well, let's give it a try. And frankly, I have not been disappointed. Okay, so moving on, we've got, now we're jumping up to 2017, and it's the Black Angels, Death Song. So, there's a lot of references with both the band's name and with the album's name to the Velvet Underground, who is a significant influence. This is psychedelic noise rock kind of, in the realm of bands like Loop or something like that. Really, really good record. This was also an introduction. I think I probably heard about the Black Angels from Stunty, watching one of his videos. And I think this one was the one in particular recommended. And it's a great record. I've got one or two others, at least one other, perhaps two other Black Angel releases that are just really good as well. So that was from 2017. And then we go to 2018. This was a band from the 90s, and then they kind of didn't do anything for a really, really long time. They're from the Champaign-Urbana, Illinois area, where the University of Illinois is located. And that is Poster Children. And they decided to get back together for this album, Grand Bargain, as a reaction to our current president's first term. And it is just, it's great. If you're familiar with Junior Citizen and with Daisy Chain Reaction, two earlier records of theirs that are really, really good. You're going to get more of this. This is very much kind of a alternative rock with a little bit of a grunge style to it. And this is excellent. Love this record. The World's Insane, Devil in the Gun, Lucky Ones, Hippie Hills, some of the songs that are on here. Better Than Nothing. Jeez. It's a good record. Poster Children, Grand Bargain. All right, then we come on to this record, if I remember, was a blind buy because of the cover. And it was such a cool cover. I mean, look at that. Just really beautiful art. The band is Alton Gun, and the title of the album is On. Now, Alton Gun is they're mostly musicians from Turkey, but they live in the Netherlands. And what they do is they take traditional Turkish folk songs and turn them into psychedelic songs. So most of the songs they play are based on traditional Turkish folk songs. And they played in Chicago. I saw them live too. It's just really, really very psychedelic, very beautiful music, and really, really cool. I have all of their records, all of their releases, I believe. Okay, moving on now to number 19 of this 25, and that is Tommy Guerrero, Road to Nowhere. Tommy Guerrero is mostly a jazz-style guitarist, although his main gig actually was running a skateboard shop in San Francisco, I believe. But yeah, this one is Road to Nowhere. Wonderful guitar instrumentals. I am hesitant to say, it's not like a Grant Green, or it's just, yeah, it's good. And what a cover too. I really like this cover, Road to Nowhere. All right, so that was from 2018. Then we come to 2019. This is a record that we reviewed on the Gunkles, and that is Bubblegum by De Staat. I had the lenticular cover. This is hard and punchy alternative rock, very, in many respects, very nihilistic and even anarchistic in its content. But it's great, really great stuff. They got a couple records that are kind of iffy, but their first couple records for sure, Machinery and what is it? I.O., I think is the other one, are also two really solid albums. But this one here, De Staat, they are from the Netherlands also, and it includes a lot of members who are expats from Eastern European countries. So really good. They sing in English, and I wish they would come to the United States. They do a lot of touring in Europe. I just wish they would come to the US. Okay, then for 2021, De Staat and Bubblegum was 2018. Yeah, Poster Children was 2018. Alton Gun was 2018. Tommy Guerrero was 2018. De Staat was 2019. And now we're up to this one with the debut from Geese. Projector from 2011. I heard about this band because of an article in the New York Times. And it really intrigued me that these guys, they pretty much all went to school together in Brooklyn, or maybe it was Queens, and they all got accepted to prestigious universities post high school, but they also had this band and they got a record deal. And now they can always go to school, but now they are on their third release. This is their debut, Projector. Really wild, freaky cover, and really great post-punk alternative rock that has a primary, well, at least the members of the band say the primary influence to them was television. So, and there's very much that kind of a sound to them. I've seen them once in Chicago. The drummer is just a maniac. He just really is. It's just good stuff. All right, so next one, and is, let's see, yes, from 2022. This is Kikagaku Moyo, and this is their release, Kumoyo Island. I mean, this is another band, Japanese band, psychedelic, really, really great material, songs. They didn't know how to play really at all when they first got together. And in fact, when they were recruiting people to join the original founding members, they really looked hard for people who were not skilled. And then but they did become skilled. So it was kind of a punk attitude toward psychedelic music. And they have vocals, but it's not necessarily Japanese. A lot of their singing is just is made up sounds, made up words. So the singing is really to me, you have to consider it like any other instrument. It's just creating sounds to go along with the song. So there's no need to worry about, well, what are they singing about? Nothing. Okay, but nonetheless, this album, to me, the songs Kumoyo Island do present a wonderful picture of a day in an idyllic place. I have a lot of their albums. They're not always easy to find. When they do get released, they're in limited numbers. Most of the time I find black vinyl ones. I wish I could get a couple color variants. They're very, very cool. But yeah, Kikagaku Moyo on the Guru Brain label, which is a Japanese label that specializes in Asian psychedelic bands. Really, really good material there. I think Vinyl Richie showed one from a different band, Kind of Beerbud, which is a Thai band that's on that same label. All right, next one. Let's see. So Kikagaku Moyo was 2022. Now we're into 2023. And this is a legacy artist with a posthumous release. But it is such a great release. And that is Funky Nothingness by Frank Zappa. What an album. These are like lost recordings from the vault. Mostly unheard material that never appeared on any of the recording. It includes Don Sugarcane Harris, most of it recorded during early 1970. This is good. Like I say, when this was released in 2023, I quickly moved it up into it's definitely my top 10, and I would say it's probably in my top 5 now Frank Zappa releases. It's just that good. So check it out. Funky Nothingness. All right, down to the last two. And number 24 from 2024 is Mdou Moctar with Funeral for Justice. Now, Mdou Moctar has a lot of really, really excellent albums, and I could have mentioned any one of them for an earlier year in, the 21st century. But this one is his newest release. Well, there's Tears for Justice, which is a kind of acoustic version of this album. But this album is just really incredible. Now, I talked about Tinariwen being a, the Tuareg Saharan blues style. This is Saharan blues, but really psychedelic, really powerful, amazing guitar player. In my opinion, Mdou Moctar is the best electric guitar player living today. I'm not going to say anything about his mentors like Prince or Jimi Hendrix or Eddie Van Halen. They've all passed, okay? But among guitarists today, Mdou Moctar is the greatest. And this is a really solid album, Funeral for Justice. And then here for 2025, an album that was released this year, the newest one, by a band that I could have picked another of one or two of their albums for earlier in the decade, or even in the previous decade. And it's a band that I just think is absolutely outstanding, one of the best acts, in my opinion, and they keep getting better. And that's Car Seat Headrest with the Scholars. Got my Car Seat Headrest t-shirt on. The Scholars is their rock opera. It is definitely the most cohesive and mature project that they've ever delivered. And I recently saw them live play the entire album at the Salt Shed in Chicago. And it was fantastic. Yeah, Car Seat Headrest, the Scholars, definitely my top pick for the year 2025. So there they are, 25 favorites from the 25 years of the 21st century. Hey, leave a comment in the down under. Hope you enjoyed that. I'm going to do my best here to close things up to keep it less than 40 minutes. Thumbs up, please. That really helps with distribution of the content, even if you're already subscribed. But, subscribe if you want to. Hey, I'll say again, leave a comment in the down under. I like getting them. You can find me also on Instagram, where I go by the handle NewsDude76. That's NEWZDUDE76. And then I have a Facebook page called Calvin Wazoo, where I post primarily videos I create here, plus other music-related videos and articles. Hope you enjoyed that, and I hope to see you again. And remember to pray for the people inside your head, for they won't be there when you're dead.